Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here with all of you, and a special thanks to President Flagg for inviting me to speak at your forum regarding COVID's impact on access to justice, which is, as you all know, a cause close to my heart and close to the heart of everyone in attendance today. LSC champions millions of Americans in safeguarding their basic legal rights at minimal costs to the federal government. And as the late Justice Antonin Scalia emphasized, this organization pursues the most fundamental of American ideals and pursues equal justice in areas of life most important to the lives of citizens. So that's coming from Justice Scalia. I think it goes without saying, it is a privilege for sure to work with the LSC. It's a true honor to have been named the co-chair of the Congressional Access to Legal Aid Caucus. Congressman Kennedy, Congresswoman Brooks, who have done a phenomenal job, who both cared so deeply about this issue. And I know that because in the midst of all the things that we deal with here on the Hill, when I would see them in the Cannon Tunnel, when I'd see them on the floor of the House, they would always stop me and talk about this. And, with everything going on, that says a lot. That says that they care deeply about it. We're going to miss them. Glad to join my colleague and former partner. I was not a partner, she was, but I was an associate at the law firm of Ballard Spahr in Philadelphia. Congresswoman Scanlon and I worked together there. This bipartisan caucus exists to advocate for civil legal aid programs and to assure access to representation, to make sure that that's never limited by income. And that's something we all care about. And as the co-chair, it's my pledge for this Congress and always to continue reaching across the aisle and making certain that we are doing everything in our power to ensure representation in the legal system is not exclusively a privilege for people who can afford it. In this unprecedented time of economic hardship, individuals, families, including veterans in need, especially deserve their promised equal justice under the law, a cause that so many of them fought for and fought for us for. And it is our duty for sure as elected officials to create and pass bipartisan legislation that guarantees economic status, never prohibits access to appropriate legal representation. I was really honored to receive the American Bar Association Justice Award. It meant a lot to me, and back when we had in-person events, got to speak and address all of you along with Speaker Nancy Pelosi about our joint commitment to Legal Services Corporation. And, I can tell you for one, I pledge to continue fighting alongside of the LSC for justice for all, now more than ever. COVID-19 has led to significant increases in the need for civil legal aid, as everybody here knows, most especially for our low-income families facing job losses, facing financial burdens, and facing innumerable other issues stemming from this crisis. Reports of housing evictions across the country have surged, and the LSC has estimated in August, I believe it was more than 5 million households who qualify for legal services aid, funded services, are at risk of eviction. Over 5 million. This is an astounding and devastating number. And LSC has been steadfast in their defense of the tidal wave of citizens facing eviction via economic hardship in all of our communities. And I especially want to thank them for helping to protect the citizens in my district, in Bucks County and Montgomery County, in the Philadelphia suburbs in Pennsylvania. And I know we are all grateful for the assistance of LSC and all that you provided our communities, and recognize just how significant the support they provided throughout the pandemic truly has been, especially when taking into consideration the funding cuts and practical day-to-day challenges of working remotely that legal aid organizations everywhere are facing. It's imperative that the LSC receives additional funding to allow for their continuation of aid to our low-income constituents. My co-chair, Congresswoman Scanlon, and I recently sent a letter to Chairman Cartwright and Ranking Member Enderholt in support of supplemental funding for the LSC for the full amount, by the way, that you had asked for. LSC's 2017 Justice Gap study reported that 86% of low-income citizens with civil legal problems received either inadequate or no assistance at all. And it's abundantly apparent that COVID-19 will only severely aggregate that gap and aggravate the gap. And when half of the American adults who have lost their jobs due to the pandemic are still unemployed, 46% of lower income Americans reported trouble paying their bills. And 32% reported problems paying rent or mortgage payments. Lower income adults are also reporting unprecedented high rates of spending money from savings and retirement accounts, borrowing money from friends, borrowing money from family, receiving food from food banks, many for the first time. And I can tell you, I witnessed that personally, having volunteered at food banks, and all of you that have helped have seen the same thing. People that are in line for food right now are people that you've never seen in line before, which is exhibit A of the problem. And despite monetary assistance and the extension of the eviction moratorium, evictions have continued to surge. In one such case, I believe it was Iowa's legal aid saw close to a 200% increase in eviction cases in this past year in 2020. The overwhelming majority of LSC grantees have reported a significant increase in requests for assistance, with close to 95% of them reporting a spike in newly eligible clients. We must act now to safeguard the legal rights of constituents across the country who are falling through the cracks in this pandemic-induced financial and housing crisis. And we can only do so with the assistance of the Legal Services Corporation. So I ask you all to join us in supporting their requests of additional funding. Our communities need it, and they deserve it. Furthermore, Representative Scanlon and I also sent a letter to Secretary Yellen regarding the Eviction Relief Fund. It's not only incumbent upon us to provide assistance to our community members in need, but it's also essential that we ensure that state and local governments receive clear guidance and instruction regarding the proper distribution of this critical assistance for millions of Americans who are at risk of losing their homes. Distributing this aid effectively and efficiently can only be done when clear instruction is given. So after conversations with local county officials, the significant lack of clarity surrounding the most recent distribution guidance was apparent. Moving forward, I believe the Treasury Department must provide state and local governments with statutory discretion. The current lack of discretion in the statute causes existing service delivery infrastructure to be overworked and overburdened, which is a crushing potential to limit the amount of eviction relief sent to our residents. We cannot allow that to transpire and must take steps to guarantee that state and local governments are provided the tools to be successful in assisting our citizens. So I want to thank you all for your time. Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to working with you as the co-chair, along with my friend and colleague, Mary Gay Scanlon, and the other co-chairs of the caucus. Please stay engaged with our staff. You're doing the Lord's work. It's really, really important. I love the fact that this is a bipartisan effort. Any strong effort must be bipartisan. We need as many allies coming to the table to help fight this good cause as possible.